Hey, I'm Nicholas Prom,
I'm Chase.
And I'm Dylan.
and you're watching Posers
Posers
Posers.
Must
must die.
Die. Hey guys, how was your week?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Can't complain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another heavy
Fabulous.
metal day. Uh, uh, hey, let's get right into it with Song of the Week, guys. Chase, Song of the Week.
Mine was from, well, as you can see on screen, uh, No One Like You from Blackout.
Yeah, from Scorpions,
The
1980.
Scorpion. Thank you very much for picking me up on that.
Yeah, oh
Yeah,
man,
great,
yeah,
great,
great song.
great song. I don't really need to get into why it's been in my head all week. Let's just say there's a reason I will be smiling off and on.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, dude, man, I love Scorpions, and they were one of the best bands I have seen live. Absolutely incredible. Uh, uh, yeah, Scorpions rule. Absolutely one among the gods of heavy metal. So
Most certainly.
Oh
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This
yeah,
song is I when Chase said he was picking this song, I kind of like it threw me back a bit because I haven't heard this song in a long time,
yeah,
and I listened to it again. But I used to love this song, and I just want to say like I know this song is probably about like a guy in love with a girl and he's like in
yeah.
a relationship with a girl, but to me like listening to this song as a teenager, this song was about like unrequited love,
Oh,
like having a crush on
Ooh.
a girl,
yeah. Well,
and she doesn't.
Okay.
There's no one like her.
yeah. Well, and
you
I get
know?
it. Here's the thing. It's a song about longing. So it can be about
Yeah.
longing for the person who you are with and but you're, apart because of, say you're in a touring rock group. Uh
Yeah.
or that. So it's it works on a lot of different levels like that. I think that's probably why it's such a big hit song. It was a massive hit.
Yeah.
Um uh One of the great things about like I love that like Scorpions and Priest were like totally heavy metal, totally gods of metal, but also had a bunch of like radio airplay too. And they're really
Mm,
just
Yeah.
like I think it was important to have some true metal that was also a staple of FM radio.
yeah.
Because I will tell you, having handful of Scorpions, having a handful of Priest songs that I would hear regularly when I was a young rock radio listener, this was formative heavy metal stuff for me, foundational for me,
Mm-hmm.
and so I love that these bands were mainstream enough and had enough staying power, especially because I was getting into metal like when it was uncool. That there was still enough of that juice, uh, that radio juice, to keep the flame of metal alive. So very important, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Scorpions were very.
to, to,
Oh, go ahead.
uh, one of my earliest memories related to the song is it being on MTV, and my mom like with her hairbrush singing it to my dad.
Aww.
And like being, yeah, I was a really little kid. I just remember thinking that was like, ah, that's cool, you know.
Aw.
And then looking back, I was like, my mom, I guarantee my mom would still be the type of person to do that to my dad if this song came on the radio.
I love that. I love your folks, Chase. They're such
Oh,
great
they're awesome.
great people.
In fact, he may
Uh,
watch right now. Hey, Mom, hi, Dad.
oh hi. Um, yeah. Uh, so
I
oh, go ahead, Dylan. Sorry.
well, I'm sorry. Fucking Scorpions comes up. We got to talk about it a bit.
Okay.
Yes, Scorpions were super influential to me in my early metalhead days. But just one little quick funny story. A few years ago, when I got my wisdom teeth taken out, I go and I'm in the chair, and the doctor, the oral surgeon, comes in, and he's like, "What kind of music you like? I want to play music while I do this. It relaxes me. It relaxes you." And I'm fucked up on laughing gas or whatever. And I'm like, I like metal. And he's like, oh, Scorpions? Is Scorpions okay? I'm like, yes. And he just puts on Scorpions. And I'm getting my wisdom teeth ripped out of my skull. And I don't know what songs played. They were all great songs. But
Yeah.
That's one thing I always will associate Scorpions with now is getting my wisdom teeth taken out.
And I love that the dentist. You say heavy metal, Scorpions is the first thought. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah. Well, right on. That's a fun story, man. Good times, good times. Um, so my song of the week is Metal Inquisition by Piledriver from the 1984 album Metal Inquisition by Piledriver. This song is hilarious. It is a metal anthem. I love metal songs about metal, and this one flies. This song's really a hoot. Although it expresses a sentiment that I don't really agree with, because in the lyrics, it's like basically you're saying like, if you are not into heavy metal or you do not listen to heavy metal exclusively, you should be sentenced to death. Now, that's hilarious. That's so yes, by guillotine, with head chopping sound effects and everything, or guillotine sound effects and everything. It's so good, but it's a hoot, and like I love that. I don't agree with that sentiment, but it's hilarious and fun because like, especially in the 80s and like, whether it's 84 or if it was like 1996 when I was, like 95, 96, when I was starting to get into heavy metal, you had to fight for metal. And so I understand that. Now, I don't think that you should really only listen to metal. Come on. But that's really fun, and I love crap like that. So yay, Piledriver.
Yeah, well, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
You can't take songs like this super seriously. It's just silly fun.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there were some young teens who listened to this back in the day when they were like, no, this is the truth. Fuck all this other stuff that they're playing on the radio all day. Like, I'm sure there was some edgy little kid that loved this.
Yeah. But yeah, Piledriver is a hoot.
I totally forgot about this album. You mentioned this was going to be your song of the week, and I'm like, oh yeah, Piledriver, and I went and listened to this whole album again.
The whole album kicks ass.
Yeah, totally. Great songs.
Yeah. Good times. What was your song of the week, Dylan?
Well, you mentioned this, you mentioned Piledriver. That got us talking a bit privately about metal exploitation.
Oh, yeah.
It made we should Exorcist.
Right.
Who is my favorite metal exploitation band. And my song of the week is Queen of the Dead from Exorcist's 1986 album, Nightmare Theater.
Yeah, this whole album rules.
This whole album rules.
So good.
The highlight for me is Queen of the Dead. I know it's a really, like, dumb, like, repetitive, chugging kind of song, but I fucking love that song, Queen of the Dead. And there's one part in it that always, like, it kind of gives me goosebumps. Like, you'll know it if you hear it. If you're listening to this, go listen to Queen of the Dead. And right in, like, the beginning third of the song, they're doing the lyrics, and then there's, like, this guitar slide, like, this... And it's, like, haunting. Like, I wish they did that more in the song, or did some more notes like that.
Yeah, that is an interesting touch.
Gets me.
Yeah. So I do want to back up and maybe explain metasploitation
go ahead.
A little bit. And it's great that Piledriver and Exorcist came up in this conversation. Sorry, not Exodus.
That happened to me today when I was Googling the album cover.
Yeah. But okay, so Piledriver and Exorcist, as well as two other bands on Cobra Records, Convict and Original Sin, were all in-studio creations. A guy says, hey, I got a record. Guy says, heavy metal's popular. I am going to get session musicians together to write and create these heavy metal records, and I'll create fake pseudonyms for these people and market it like these are real bands. And they were not. Wow. So Exorcist and Piledriver, at least the first album, both featured guitar work from David DeFice from Virgin Steel. And Virgin Steel is really good. Check out their album Noble Savage. That's great power metal. But yeah, these were totally studio creations. They were not quote unquote real bands. It's just it was a goof. But it's wild. It's like here's like the uncanny valley is like people who did somebody who didn't give a shit about metal hired some people to just make up some metal stuff and then created like a bunch of metal records that really kick ass.
Yeah.
And like are like that you would not know that are phony because it just comes across it rings so true.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. But Piledriver became a real band much later. Gord Kirchen, the guy who did the vocals on both the Piledriver albums and the Convict album, many years later put together an actual band and went out and was playing as Piledriver. And then unfortunately he passed away a few years ago from cancer. I think that's right. But Piledriver became a real band. But yeah, dude, it doesn't matter that Exorcist wasn't real because it's a raging slab of thrash metal, dude.
Yeah.
It can go toe to toe with anything from Razor or Morbid Saint or any other like really just like over the top ripping aggressive shit. It's an impressive record. I think it's probably these albums are as good as they are because of David DeFeis because he was a real metal guy, even though he was just hired to come in and help make this stuff up.
That probably helped. Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, I'm sure Cobra Records and the bands that we're talking about, I'm sure that wasn't the only metasploitation story out there. But this is nothing new. In the '60s, people did the same thing. There's a lot of psychedelic rock records that were psychsploitation. The Animated Egg is a really good psychedelic rock album put together by a bunch of studio musician squares. You know, so
Oh man.
you know but it's kind of like goes back to like what Kurt Vonnegut said in Mother Night. You know, be careful what you pretend to be, because you are what you pretend to be. You know, so these posers made these really great metal records that you wouldn't know are phony. So like it's weird. What a wild story, but like Exorcist and Metal Inquisition are incredible, you know. So yeah,
And when you picked Piledriver and we were talking about it, and I went to listen to that album again because I had not heard Piledriver in years.
sure.
But I've heard this Exorcist album like way more. I come back to it every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Piledriver again, and I'm like, oh damn, this guitar sounds a lot like Exorcist. And then sure enough, I look it up, it's the same guitarist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Which really makes me
yeah.
think I need to listen to more Virgin Steel.
hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
see.
because that guy's a good guitar player, man.
Yeah. I've
Um,
never heard of, what was the other one you said? Convict? I've never heard of Convict.
Convict, they had one album. I actually had it on cassette. It's the album's called Go Ahead and Make My Day. It's a little poppier. It's a little
Yeah.
more poppier metal. And then the same label also put out an album by a group called Original Sin. And I haven't heard that record. I think it's speed metal, if I remember right. But if I've heard it, it's been a long time, so I don't really have a good memory. But yeah, I mean, and there's of course the two Piledriver albums as well. Stay Ugly, I like too. It's not as good as Metal Inquisition, but it's a worthy. It's worth your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, why don't we move on to some album reviews? We got some recent releases to talk about. Dylan, what do we have up first, man?
First up, Butcher.
Yeah, what is it? On Foul of Time?
Foul of Tyrant Wing.
Yeah, these guys are from Finland, and it's blackened speed metal. This band rips. I really like.
Yeah.
I like this. This kicked a lot of ass. I saw that album cover. I was like, I knew I'm gonna like this.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just know.
Like, these guys mainline old school like heavy metal, like they personify it, like everything from the promo photos that look great that we get to look through there. But like I wrote down here, I said, yeah, these guys like you said, mainline heavy metal. I mean, it's pure uncut priest, check. Black Tar Motorhead, check. Sticky Icky Saxon, check. Dirty Old Grim Reaper, check. It's all there. It's all.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Anywho, yeah.
I love that. I love
have you
that.
guys heard Butcher's other two albums?
I haven't, but I
No.
want to.
Oh man, okay. Well, I just want to say I'm already a fan of Butcher. I've heard their other two albums.
Nice.
I fucking love Butcher, and I was actually really excited when you picked this one for this week to to be able to hear this early. Holy shit!
Yeah, this is out.
We love Butcher in this house.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Love that enthusiasm. Yeah, this album's coming out the 25th of October.
Yes.
So it's a couple weeks out, or few weeks out. But
Osmos Productions.
Osmos Productions. Oh yeah. Oh, and they put out tons of great stuff over the years. So yeah. Thank you. But yeah, this is just a killer album. Just like
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
all the way through. All the
Yeah.
way through. I was loving it.
yeah, it's really good.
For people that are listening that know Butcher and like Butcher, this is totally in vein with the rest of their shit. They keep their same beautiful signature sound. And if you guys, Nick and Chase, if you liked this, please go listen to their other two albums. The names are slipping my mind.
It's okay. I was looking it up earlier, and yeah, I want to check out their other records for sure.
Yeah. Great shit. Butcher slams. For me, I have two notes here. I mean, my favorite song on here was "Keep the Steel Flamin' Hot."
Maybe not.
That was a really good song.
Dylan likes his steel, like he likes his Cheetos, flaming hot.
And just a little, I'm not judging here. I'm not saying anybody's stealing anything, but there's a song on here called Caractor's Iron Rule.
Okay.
And in the latter half of the song, when they're kind of toning down after like some guitar soloing, there's a riff in there that sounds exactly like the riff from "Scream in the Night" by Exciter.
Ooh.
And
I
know that wasn't intentional.
I can't imagine that these guys like Exciter.
Well, maybe it wasn't intentional. Maybe it was, but
I mean, people have just absorbed stuff, and and sometimes you'll get a lick that sounds similar. And also chord progressions, just like sometimes you're like, oh, you accidentally like, oh wait, that's so and so's, It happens all the time. I don't think it's out and out theft. But yeah, that's a cool catch. I didn't pick up on that one.
Yeah, it's that riff that's like now, that like near the end of Scream in the Night.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when they're toning the song down.
Yeah.
I hear that, like, it's kind of quiet in this song.
Sure. Okay.
But, yeah, when this comes out, people, see if you hear what I hear.
Okay. Yeah. Well, right on. Do we want to talk about our next record?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So this one, Wolfbrigade, Life, Knife, Death. This has been out for a little bit, maybe like a month and change, something like that.
15th.
September. Okay, so it's been out for about a month. This is great. Long-running Swedish hardcore, crust punk.
Yeah.
Just like it's like this clean sounding D beat attack. It is so cool. I love this album cover. It reminds me of Celtic Frost, Morbid Tales.
Yes.
Cool. You love it.
Okay.
Yeah. Love to see a punk record out on Metal Blade Records. That's pretty wild. But this just kicked ass. Oh man, just ripping. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of other notes. Just like, wow, this is great.
Yeah. My notes pretty much consist of this sounds like I keep hearing At the Gates. Why do I keep hearing At the Gates? And it was like, well, duh, they're fucking Swedish. It's DB crusty.
Yeah.
Come on, give me a break.
But this is great. I mean, and like, and I would love to see these guys like on a bill with some like some like German thrash bands. Can you just see like people going ape shit over that?
Yeah, no, totally. That's a nice pairing.
Yeah, like put them on the bill with Destruction or something, Like,
Yeah.
wow. That'd be so killer. Uh,
That's one thing. Going back just a little, that's one thing I forgot to say about Butcher. Like, how
oh,
fucking killer would it see to be Butcher live?
oh
I would
man,
love to fucking
I'm
see
sure
Butcher
they tear
live.
it up, dude. And
Like,
yeah, I'm sure everybody that we're talking about in our review section today is just amazing live. Uh,
Yeah.
or I want to believe that. Uh,
but yeah, Brigade. This was a ripper album all the way through. I enjoyed listening to it. This is one of those albums that I have this opinion of once in a while where you should just put it on and listen to it from start to finish. Like
yeah,
you can't you can't necessarily. I mean, you can if you want. It's up to the
yeah,
individual. Pick out a song if you want that you like, but these songs flow together and
yeah,
the whole album just goes together. It's
yeah,
great to
Yeah.
listen to from start to finish
yeah,
as one piece.
yeah. This is a record that you want to be like just screaming down the highway in the middle of the night, just like listening to full blast. It's
Yeah,
like, boom,
yeah.
you know. Yeah, it's just yeah, this is great stuff. Um, highly recommend. Uh, I don't have any more thoughts on this. This is just a great record.
My favorite song from this was Nail Bomb. That's a real highlight.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
I like Skin Changer. Like you're
Mm.
talking about chunky riffs earlier. It was a bit slower, kind of mid pace. It's a nice comfortable spot. It's the only lull in the album. Not lull as in like, oh, it's not as
but
good.
it
No,
takes a
lull as
moment
in
to breathe, you know.
yeah,
There you
yeah,
go. And sometimes you need that. Like if an album is just like fast, 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 fast the whole time, it's like, whoa. Some of these songs don't really get to have their own identity when you do that. Like
yes,
that. You know, it's
yes,
like, I like Rain and Blood by Slayer, and I like Darkness Ascends from Dark Angel, but that is a weakness of those two great albums,
Mm.
is that there aren't really peaks and valleys in those records. They just go.
I think I can
Yeah.
agree with that. Yeah,
You know, which is like, oh, like I just, if there was a little more variance on those records, I think I might like them a little more, believe it or not. But whatever, those albums are great, and this one is kind of like that, just
Mm-hmm.
comes in and just kills.
Yeah.
So right on. Do we want to talk about Obnoxious Youth?
Yep.
So yeah, Burning Savage, Obnoxious Youth. This is coming out October 18th. More
on
kind of
Smart,
black. What's that?
on Smart Records.
Thank you. Uh,
Yeah,
more blackened speed metal, which there seems to be a lot of this, and I should have picked something else for this week, and I'm sorry. I was just like, that looks cool. Let's talk about that. Um, but I liked this. It took a few spins for it to really kind of like for me to kind of warm to it, though. This one was a bit more of a grower than the other ones we talked about. I kind of I kind of feel like these vocals don't serve the music as well. I think a more melodic voice would suit this band better. Like a little more of like a cleaner. Not totally clean singing, but like cleaner. Like a classic thrash
yeah.
voice. This is a little too rough, I think, for this music. Because it's brilliant speed metal.
Mm.
I would have to
Yeah.
agree. The vocal's probably the one thing that I was like, if I could change, that would be
Yeah.
it. Not that I don't hate them; they're fine. Uh, I just, yeah, I agree. Maybe something a little bit more melodic.
Yeah, and I warmed to them on multiple listens, but like here's the thing. Sometimes you only give a band one listen or a song, or a part of
Yeah,
a song. And so if you don't sell me out the gate, you might not pick me up as a fan. Me as in the
yeah.
royal me as, somebody just checking it out in the world. Um,
El
but
Nino.
but I thought this was a cool record. Yeah, if you can't get enough of this sound, I mean, like, man, get Obnoxious Youth. This is cool. Um, what do you think, Dylan?
Well, I mean, first I gotta say, these three picks we've talked about so far, like fucking bitchin' album cover after bitchin' album cover. This
Yeah,
one, this
we
one,
covered it.
this one is beautiful. I can't stop staring at this. I love it.
Yeah,
But I I'd have to give this. I only listened to this album once. I did enjoy it. This is another album I'd say that like this is a start to finish kind of album. All the songs bleed together in a nice way that like you don't, you know, you kind of want to listen to this as one piece as the artists intended it as
sure.
they released it on the album. But I'd have to listen to it again to see if I understand your opinion there, or if I agree about like maybe the vocals should be different. I don't know. I'd have to give that a second listen and a second review.
That's fine.
But I didn't mind the vocals. I liked
Oh
them.
no,
They
I
were.
wasn't like ugh, but
Yeah, no, no, no,
I
no.
thought they were a little grating, and I was like the music because it's like it. I feel like here's the thing: if it was thrash rather than speed metal, I might not have felt that way about the vocals. But speed
Yeah,
metal makes me think like, no, it should be the voice should be a little lighter.
yeah,
Uh, so a lot of times. I mean, it's not that they can't be rough, but I thought these were a little too rough for this particular band, if that makes sense. But a minor complaint because I thought this was a cool record.
Yeah. Another minor complaint was that the song Black Magic Horror, I thought was going to be a play on Santana's Black Magic Woman. It wasn't. But that's my
Oh,
fault.
okay. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So,
yeah.
uh,
And then there was there was a song called "Tornado of Blades," and I'm like, oh, is that gonna be like some Megadeth reference? And it's like,
right?
nope, separate thing.
But what an image to conjure up, right? Sharknado, Knife NATO. You know,
No.
you know.
Also on the line what I was saying earlier, they have the album closer, Omega Therion.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that must be a shot at Celtic Frost, right? Like, no, maybe just the final beast on the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's a good song.
Well, I wonder if that's a pun, like to Megatherion, but like Omega Theory, Omega. Wait, I have something. I don't know. Oh, like Omega Theory on.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here, but I wonder if it's intended to be a play on words. These guys are from Belgium,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's a thing. I don't know.
I liked that album closer. That was pretty cool though.
Yeah.
My favorite song on here, which I fucking loved, I'm gonna be listening to this many times, was Phantasma.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a banger. That was a gem from this album.
Nice.
Uh, sorry. Yeah, my favorite was Bitch Krieg.
Yeah.
It emphasized those slasher synths, those 80s slasher synths that they had.
Yeah.
That was the one that really pulled it, really displayed those, and for whatever reason that just stuck out. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is my pick. This is my pick for the.
I like how you call it that slasher 80s slasher synths. I totally get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got something to say later. Something we're going to talk about later. I'm going to reference that, okay? So, but that is very cool. Do we want to move on to? Are we done on this album? Are we good?
Yeah. Let's,
Sure.
Okay, let's move on to Chase's classic album.
Hey guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want some Morbid Angel? You want some classic death metal?
Yeah. Let me tell you. Okay, Altars of Madness, 1989, Morbid Angel's debut. This is, without a doubt, my favorite death metal album of all time. I mean, there is nothing even comes close to it. I love this one so much. I love it so much, and I heard it before a lot of other things I may have should have heard first. It kind of spoiled other things for me. Like I heard this, I heard this before I heard Seven Churches by Possessed, and then I thought, it's good, but it's no more Altars of Madness. Now I've since come around yeah, Seven Churches is special and it's great. It's a fantastic album. It's very important. But man, holy shit, Altars of Madness. I love this album.
Hell of a measuring stick.
It is. Even among Morbid Angel's catalog, and Blessed Are the Sick and Covenant are incredible albums as well.
Yeah.
Domination is great too. But yeah, I love this album. I mean, Chapel of Ghouls, all-time favorite death metal song. Immortal Rites, Evil Spells, Suffocation, Visions from the Dark Side.
Plagues.
Yeah. This is just so much good shit.
I have the lyrics in front of me, and I can't say all these Lovecraftian names as quickly as Trey can.
Yeah.
And It bugs the hell out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that okay, Dave Vincent, best death metal vocalist. Pete Sandoval, best death metal drummer. And Trey is like really unique, jazzy kind of song structure and like the way he writes. It's just like this. Morbid Angel is like a masterclass for like musicianship. I mean, jazz fusion guys should be studying the early Morbid Angel albums. You
I would be
know?
surprised if some do, honestly.
Yeah. And maybe they do. I don't know. But yeah, this album is just monumental. Love it.
Believe it or not, my ex's sister introduced me to this album. She was driving me home. We were working at McDonald's. She was my manager. She drove me home, and she had this playing. And I'm like, because at work she's this completely professional, straight laced, no nonsense person. That we get in the car, you know, like, oh, what's happening? And
Oh.
yeah, no, it was hell of an introduction.
Oh man. Wow, that is wild. But yeah, this album just it rips. Just like, geez, wow. So good. Dylan, do you have some thoughts?
I don't know. Are you guys ready to like shoot me in the head or?
No, we're never ready to shoot you in the head.
You know, this is good stuff, and I come across this album every so often. I know it's a classic, but it's personally it's just never gripped me like as
Okay.
much as their classic death metal albums of the time.
And you know, you're not wrong.
I don't know what it is about it. Maybe you guys could give me some like some recommendations of individual songs from the album to listen to again. But I listened to this album again in preparation for this, and I was just like, yeah, this is all right. You know, I'm not super crazy about it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, and like, and
thing, you know.
yeah, I mean, sometimes these things are just right thing, right time. You know, like this is how you're describing how I feel about Bolt Thrower. They've just never done it for me.
Okay, I can understand that.
And other people worship Bolt Thrower, and like I am gonna do in the relatively near future a deep dive in the Bolt Thrower catalog and get more familiar. I did recently check out the Cenotaph EP, and I really liked that actually.
Yes.
But that was like the beginning of Bolt Thrower clicking for me. Because like I said, I think I've told you guys, I don't know if I said it on the air, but like the one I found used and checked out was the Fourth Crusade. And I was like, this is cool, I guess, but I don't really understand why people like sweat this band so hard. You know, like it wasn't like it didn't blow my mind, you know? So I get it, dude. I get it.
That gives me an idea for something we'll talk about later. But
okay.
Yeah, I totally get if you feel like I do about that, like, and I do about this, like, then I get what you mean when we talk about Bolt Thrower.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Do not apologize.
I'm not saying it's bad at all.
No.
Morbid Angel totally does kick ass, but it's just not my kind of stuff. I don't know. I prefer other stuff.
Dude, and that's totally okay. That's a subjective opinion. It's not. Yeah. So yeah, cool.
A good pick, Jace, nonetheless.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Why don't we move on to something that I know that you're enthusiastic about, Dylan?
Ooh.
Dylan's Demolition.
Ooh.
So Corpse, this 1986 demo, they put out
87.
one demo.
I thought it was 87.
My notes say 86. Oh no.
Mine say 86 as well.
No, and then I'm looking at my notes again and say 87, so I'm wrong. They put out this one demo, and then before they changed their name to Grave, and they're one of the great Swedish death metal bands. This demo totally rips. 3 songs. I love Grave. They were one of not my first death metal band I saw, but one of the early death metal bands I saw, and I still can't believe that I saw them. I saw them in 2002. I don't know if they've toured the States since. But their debut album, Into the Grave, is one of my all-time favorite death metal albums. And this band rules. I love Grave, and I love Corpse as in their embryonic version of them. This is excellent, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I fucking I'll be honest, I couldn't quite come up with a demo this week, so I was flipping through shit and I came across this and I'm like, oh shit, is this Grave used to be Corpse? And I fell into this little miniature rabbit hole, and this is such a fucking good demo. Like,
Yeah,
damn,
Black
a
Dawn is the
sign
name of
of
the demo, but yeah.
Black Dawn, a sign of things to come for Grave. Like,
Yeah.
and these are, when you listen to these early, like a lot of these early, somebody said this in the comments of like the YouTube video for this, and I totally agree with them. These early death metal demos of like these bands that are really well known now, like the instrumentation is like so tight, the guitar is so tight,
Yeah.
like damn, and these riffs are absolutely killer. That third song, Rise Again,
Yeah.
that's my favorite on here.
Yeah.
And it only makes me wish when I'm listening to it that we could hear these in like crystal clear quality. Like
Yeah.
there's a certain appeal to the demo sound,
Yeah.
the cassette rip sort of sound, but
Yeah.
god damn would I love to hear this shit in beautiful, like, into the grave quality. You know
Here's
what I mean?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
This demo has been re-released in their official like demo collection. I was listening to it on streaming. I was listening to it crystal clear on streaming.
It still sounded like a kind of a crappy cassette rip to me. I was listening to the same thing.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
maybe
guess what I'm thinking of is like the production, like the
okay. Like you want to listen to a digitally remastered version of this demo is what you're saying?
Yeah, I want to hear this with like really good production, like
Okay.
you know.
Interesting. One thing that I take away from a lot of the early the early death metal demos is just how thrashy they are.
Yes.
You know, it's like these are guys who were trading thrash demos tapes, and they're like, okay, when we start a band, we're gonna be like that, but like more extreme. We're gonna push the envelope even more. So the vocals are gonna be more extreme. We're gonna make it tune it a little lower. Gonna get a little heavier. But thrash being the kind of like their starting point, and that they're evolving from. So I love death metal of the early 80s, or excuse me, the late 80s and early 90s, because it's such an overlap with a great time for thrash too. And it's just like, man, that's my favorite era of the metal underground. I think when death metal is emerging and thrash is really strong, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so since you guys said that it might have been an '87 demo, that actually reminds me. Yeah, tape trading with thrash, thrash bands, whoever. Did you notice? Am I the only one who noticed? Black Dawn, the opening riff sounds a lot like Angel of Death, like a lot, like a lot.
And that album was a huge album only the year before.
Yeah.
It's probably not a coincidence. Yeah. It's probably not a coincidence, Chase.
Okay. Yeah.
But and again, it's just sometimes you just absorb that stuff, you don't even realize it, And here's the thing, Black Dawn is not. It might have share a guitar lick or riff, but it's not the same song.
Not even remotely.
Other
than that open riff, it
yeah.
Like
but
the Angel of Death, and that becomes its own song. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I just was listening to this right before I got on for the show, like a third, fourth fucking time. But
yeah,
I think I'm gonna have to listen to it one more time to hear what you mean, Chase. But I think you are right. It does. Yeah. Now that I'm recalling it in my head.
Yeah.
And
give it a listen later. Hit me up on Discord.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And one more note. I love reading comments on YouTube videos on metal shit. And one thing somebody else said was, and they put it pretty great, Slayer riffs, Creator logo, and Sodom vocals.
Pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Um, on this subject, I was just thinking, apropos of nothing. Uh, you know how Vader is like the most Slayer sounding death metal band?
Mm.
I can
Yeah.
agree to that. Yeah.
I love Vader. I've seen them twice. I'm dreaming. That's like a bucket list band. Like I've seen them, but I'm like, man, I would love to see Vader one more time. Uh, so good. Anyway,
Mm.
that's all. Uh, uh,
What you got for us this week, Nick?
oh, for the Hardcore Hall of Fame. Well, this week we've got for out of Los Angeles, Wasted Youth from 1981. Their EP Reagan's In, and of course it's 81 hardcore. It's great. I love all that pushback against Reagan and it's morning in America crap. Reagan is really like the sign of the death knell of America, and like these youths, fighting back, pushing back against conservative 1980s America with this, super rebellious shit. I love it. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Wasted Youth is great. They had two EPs as a hardcore punk band, and then they had an album as a crossover thrash record. That's a cool album. Yeah, good band. I don't have a ton on this one. What did you guys think about this?
I didn't really have a whole lot to say about it. I mean, I thought that dude was saying Port Authority. He wasn't saying fuck authority. I thought he was saying
Right,
Port Authority.
right. That's funny. Ah!
Okay, man.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that the track "You're a Jerk" is so bad it's good.
Fair.
I,
Yeah, not all of these are real deep, but
no, totally. I get you. They're having fun and whatnot, but man, that like sloppy Sex Pistol-itis voice the guy drifts in and out of just fucking kills me. Can't do it.
okay.
But no, high energy. It's fun. Like it's
Yeah.
good shit. Otherwise, like I like Punk for a Day. That
Yeah, yeah.
the twang in that, and then goes right into your like frenetic hardcore, and then right back into the twang.
Yeah.
Is it's fun.
There you go. Dylan, any thoughts on this one, man?
Yeah, I've never heard Wasted Youth, but I enjoyed this. Good pick, Nick.
Thanks. I try.
Picnic. But I mean that album cover. Chase said this, and I will just repeat what Chase said. I love that WY carved into Reagan's forehead. That's pretty killer. But I don't know. I enjoyed this. It was just fun. It was a fun. I don't know if I'll listen to it again for a long time, but it was just fun to sit there. I was playing some video game while I was listening to it, and I had to stop. I had to pause a few times to headbang.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is fun
Good
stuff.
point, good point.
It's an important record. Famously, you'll see a lot of late 80s pictures or video footage of Slash from Guns N' Roses wearing this album cover on a t-shirt.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, you recognize that. Yeah, yeah. So, I don't know. Just one little pop culture note about it. But yeah, cool record. Yeah.
Check it
Uh,
out.
yeah. I went to a show this week. It was Wednesday, the 2nd. This was a fun show. The opener, this black metal band that we couldn't figure out the name of because it's a little too crusty. They're called Denial of Existence.
there it is.
And
I could totally read that now.
right. Anyway, they opened, and I will say, you guys know I don't have a ton of juice for just pure black metal, but I will say if folks out there are fans of the old Dark Throne and Mayhem stuff, you're gonna like this band. They play this style authentically and they play it well. So
Good to know.
yeah, so if that's your bag, go for them. They've got some other shows coming up. They've got a show I think at the on the 25th at the Shanghai Tunnel with like 3 or 4 other black metal bands. So if that's your thing, do it. Atomic Terror, our boys, man, ripped it up. Totally killer set. They did a great job. I love those guys, and High Watermark, they sounded really good. There were, it's a Wednesday night. There were about 30 people in attendance for this show. It's tough, a Friday or Saturday night show at the High Watermark. There's going to be a lot more people, but yeah, I mean, shows on those nights tend to be like, oh, there is folks here, but decent turnout for a Wednesday night, I gotta say. Yeah, Atomic Terror were great. The touring act, Haunter, wow, these guys rip, really good guys. Like Chase talked about slasher synths earlier. They got some of that going on.
Okay, cool.
Very much
live?
A little bit.
That in their lives?
A little
Okay,
bit.
cool.
Now, and it's not like they have a dedicated keyboard person. There's a little bit of some synth happening, but
Yeah.
we're talking. They call themselves like black metal punk, and but it really came across as like black and speed metal. But like,
Okay.
the shorthand that I'll give for them, and this isn't a perfect analogy, but this will get you in the ballpark, is like imagine Discharge crossed with Blasphemy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Now, they got a little something extra going beyond that. This is a great band, though. They were so killer. So glad I saw these guys. I got a patch that I'll be wearing on this vest proudly. They were really cool. Yeah, they even do the how Blasphemy, they don't do corpse paint, but they do that black eye makeup that kind of comes down into the thing. Okay, they did that. But sonically, it made me think of like, imagine Blasphemy sped up and punky.
Okay.
Pretty cool. Cool band.
That sounds so cool. I mean, I honestly, I can't even imagine that. It's like you're describing a color that doesn't exist. But I
Oh,
wish I
man.
could see that color.
Yeah. Well, you can
That
hear
sounds
that.
cool as
You can
hell.
hear that color because they have a couple of EPs and they're all over
Oh,
streaming.
okay.
No, these guys rip. You'll like them, Dylan. You're gonna like
I-
these guys a lot.
I'm really sad I missed this show.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to it,
Yeah.
but I fucking forgot about it. I don't know how it happened.
Oh, that happens.
I
That
just
happens.
forgot.
Yeah.
It
But
happens, man.
Yeah.
whatever.
And it's funny. Vexum, who we're gonna see this coming Wednesday, they just played a show with Haunter in L.A. I think or someplace. I wonder how that gig went down. But yeah, this was great. Really cool
Nice.
band. And man, I was so tired the next day. Oh my God, going out on a Wednesday it's a little rough, because I work in, I have my job is manual labor. I work in production, and so put in a day's work. I came home, tried to take a nap, and then went to the show, and I made it. We made it, but it's a challenge. I don't know how I'm gonna do the doubleheader of Vexum and Judas Priest coming up this week, but we're doing it.
I was wondering, man.
Hell of a time to quit cocaine, you guys. I am joking. I have not done cocaine in over 25 years. But I think the statute of limitations is up on that. But why don't we talk about, we'll wrap and we'll talk about some shows that are coming up, and then we'll wrap for today. Vexum are hitting the road on tour. They're going to be on tour from October 9th through the 20th, hitting the western United States and into Canada. We will be seeing them this coming Wednesday at the High Watermark with our boys Atomic Terror and Wizard Cage. That's going to be a blast. $10, and it's going to rule. Let's go out and show these guys that Portland can rage on a Wednesday. Anyone watching, please come to the show. If you're local to Portland and Vancouver, get get to this
Come to the
and
show.
come and thrash with
Come to the
Vexum and
show.
Atomic Terror.
Hey, if we're gonna be there, if you see us,
Oh,
come talk to us and get a free Posers Must Die pin.
yes, or a pin back button from me. Yeah, whatever you like. But yeah, these pins are great for your lapel, on your battle vest. Yeah, please come to the show. Please come to the show. But Chase and I are going to be seeing the very next night Judas Priest and Sabaton at the Moda Center at the Theater of the Clouds. What can I say? I mean, Judas Priest are the gods of metal, and Sabaton are no slouches. They are fun, and that's going to be
You covered it that last time. That does not suck. This whole thing does not suck.
The only thing is going to be like, and will I have the energy? Will I live? But I may need Chase to hold me up, but we're going to make it. We're going to do this doubleheader. It's going to happen.
Duct tape a stick to his back, Chase.
There you go. Whatever we got to do.
Simon's carrier like Sam and Frodo. I'll get you there, Mr. Nick.
There we go. Oh boy. Okay. What a reference. And of course, then Monday, the 14th, Chase and I'll be seeing Iron Maiden, and that is gonna rule. Check out the set list. It's really leaning heavy on the albums Somewhere in Time and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son and Senjutsu, the more recent Maiden album, which I am warming to. It should be a killer time. This is gonna be this is Maiden leaning into their proggier stuff, but Somewhere in Time and Seventh Son are great. So I'm excited. This is gonna be really fun. Seeing Iron Maiden, that is gonna be great. And then I'm gonna update our show calendar. We're gonna have some different stuff for next week's program. But want to remind folks, October 19th, Soul Grinder and Stainless will be in support of Mean Mistreater at the High Water Mark. This is going to be a triple threat of female-fronted heavy metal, and it's all real stuff, real good stuff. It's going to be raging. It's going to be, you do love to see it, and we will see it, and it's going to be a blast.
Get a pin. Come and get a pin.
Yeah. So yes.
I'm gonna try to give some of these to. Definitely. What's her name? The front woman of Soul Grinder.
Oh, April. Yeah. Please do.
I met her before. I'm gonna try to get her one of these pins. The guitarist Alex. I'm gonna try to give him one.
There you go.
I think his name's Alex.
Sure.
And then the front woman of Stainless. I can't remember her name, but I've met her before. She's very cool. I'm gonna try to give her one
right on.
too.
Cool.
So,
very cool.
Excellent. Thank you for being out
free
there.
Pins for everyone.
While supplies last. Well,
hell, man, you gave me like a 1 pound bag of.
Well, but they're limited run. I did a limited run of them. Anyway.
We'll save them. We'll save them.
No, give them away. Give them away. That's what I made. That's what I had them made for. Give them away. So, but anyway, I think that should do it for this week. Chase, want to hit us with the sign off, baby?
Sure thing. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you in hell, my friends. See you in hell, my friends. See you in hell, my friends.
Oh. All right. Thank you.